All right, let's jump right into this explainer and explore the incredible invisible power revolution that's literally happening right beneath our vehicles. If you've been following the EV space at all, you already know that innovation is just moving at warp speed. But today, well, we're not talking about battery chemistry or software updates. We are talking about fundamentally changing how we transfer energy into our cars, moving from something we have to physically go out and do to something that just happens.
Think about it. For over a century, refueling a vehicle meant stopping somewhere and physically pumping liquid. And even with modern electric vehicles, we're still kind of tethered to that old habit, right? You still have to grab a heavy cable and plug it in. But we're rapidly moving toward a future where powering your car is just this completely passive, ambient experience. So the real question we're unpacking today is, as this technology matures, is it time for you to upgrade your own garage? Or is that trusty physical cable here to stay?
So Section 1, the invisible power revolution. Let's establish exactly what we're looking at here.
The core concept is this ultimate park and charge workflow. And major players, we're talking Porsche, Tesla, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, they are heavily investing in this. By generating an electromagnetic field between a transmitter pad on the ground and a receiver mounted under the car, we get this seamless energy transfer. It completely eliminates the need for physical cables. Just imagine coming home in the pouring rain, parking your car, and walking right inside while your vehicle automatically starts charging itself. I mean, it really promises to redefine what premium convenience feels like.
Moving on to Section 2, how wireless charging works.
Now you might be wondering, how does energy actually manage to jump through thin air to power a literal 2-ton vehicle? Well, it all comes down to magnetic resonance coupling. You have a transmitter pad down on the ground and a receiver up on the vehicle's chassis. But the energy doesn't just instantly leap from the grid into your battery, it actually has to undergo a pretty complex series of transformations to bridge that gap safely and efficiently.
It takes this highly precise 5-step journey. First, standard AC power from the grid hits the station. Second, it gets rectified into direct current, or DC. Third, and this is key, a high-frequency inverter changes it back into high-frequency AC to create this powerful oscillating magnetic field. Fourth, the energy leaps across that air gap. And finally, a second rectifier inside the car converts it back to DC so the battery can actually store it. The crazy part, the multiple electrical conversions required for all this actually cause more energy loss than the air gap itself.
So the catch here is that this whole system demands absolute precision. There was a major pilot program in Rotterdam, and it showed that a 12-centimeter air gap is currently the optimal sweet spot to hit around 90% efficiency. But here's the reality check for everyday drivers. If you park just 10 centimeters off-center, you can severely drop the system's performance, or the charging session might just fail entirely.
All right, Section 3, the wired versus wireless showdown.
Let's get pragmatic and see how these two stack up where it really hurts, your wallet. When we compare a standard 11-kilowatt wired wall box to a wireless system putting out the exact same power, the upfront cost difference is just staggering. A standard wired setup, that might run you between $1,100 and $2,700 fully installed. But wireless? That requires an investment ranging anywhere from $6,500 all the way up to $12,000. You've got to buy the ground pad, the vehicle receiver, and handle all the ground modifications. Plus, wired systems are still slightly more energy efficient.
Because of that lower efficiency, roughly 85 to 90% for wireless compared to 90 to 95% for wired, you're basically paying about $1.12 more per full charge. If you actually sit down and do the math, it would take somewhere between 4,400 and 8,000 charges just to break even on that massive hardware premium. For the average driver, that is literally 10 to 20 years of charging. So for sure, this is a premium convenience feature right now, not a budget saver.
Ultimately, it boils down to two completely different lifestyles. It's a showdown between the budget-friendly, ironclad reliability of a cable, where you have 100% plug-and-play certainty no matter how terribly you parked, versus the futuristic, automated lifestyle of a wireless pad, where you literally park and walk away dry on the rain, assuming you line the car up correctly, of course.
Section 4. Real-world safety and tests. Now, theory is great, but real-world stress tests address the elephant in the room, radiation. People always want to know if it's safe. Well, by mapping the electromagnetic fields during that extensive public pilot program in Rotterdam, researchers tested the magnetic field intensity in microteslas, both inside and outside the vehicle while it was actively charging, and the results proved definitively that sitting inside the car or even standing right next to it is perfectly safe.
In fact, the pilot revealed the field intensity inside the driver footwell was a microscopic 0.03 microteslas, To put that into perspective for you, that is lower exposure than standing next to a standard kitchen induction cooker. The only genuinely unsafe spot is right directly between the charging coils. And to fix that, modern systems actually emit ultrasonic sound waves to scare away animals, like cats or rabbits, that might want to hang out in the air gap. Also, a huge lesson learned about user experience. Painted floor markings just don't work for perfect parking. Drivers absolutely need a digital dashboard notification, kind of like the Nissan Leaf's flashing blue lights, to confirm they're aligned and good to go.
But these tests also exposed some pretty major industry hurdles, mainly around standardization. For public wireless charging to become a reality, the whole industry has to agree on Z classes, which is just the vehicle's ground clearance, and WPT power classes, which range from 3.7 to 22 kilowatts. If your car's receiver doesn't match the specific class of the ground pad you pull up to, it simply will not charge.
And that right there is the biggest threat to this tech today, the interoperability risk. During that Rotterdam pilot, they tried charging both a Peugeot and a Nissan on the exact same pad, and it was a nightmare. The Peugeot needed these specific, custom power bursts at startup so its system wouldn't time out, while the Nissan operated totally differently. Because of these different communication protocols, a $12,000 charger you buy for your car today could literally be a useless paperweight for your next car, unless the industry quickly adopts universal, open standards.
Which brings us to Section 5, the autonomous future.
So despite those massive upfront costs and the standardization headaches, automakers are not backing down. Why? Because wireless charging is an absolute, unavoidable keystone for the future of transportation. Just think about it. A self-driving robotaxi is completely useless if it has to drive back to a depot and wait for a human being to plug it in. Wireless pads enable true autonomy, vehicles that charge themselves 24/7. And the vision is even bigger than that. We're already seeing tests like the e-road Arlanda in Sweden focusing on dynamic road charging, where EVs literally charge while driving over embedded coils in the street. Add vehicle-to-grid or V2G tech into the mix, and these connected cars can actually feed power back to stabilize city energy grids during peak hours. It's wild stuff.
Finally, Section 6, Key Insights and Thank You. We have covered a massive amount of technical and economic ground today, so let's distill all this down into some actionable takeaways you can use right now. The main thing to remember is that neither technology is strictly better than the other. They are completely complementary. You should confidently choose wired systems today if you're watching your budget, if you rely on ultra-fast charging for road trips, and if you want 100% weatherproof reliability. But keep your eye on wireless as a premium investment if you want the absolute highest level of home convenience, or if you're tracking the rollout of autonomous fleets, because for them, this tech is basically mandatory.
I really want to sincerely thank all of you for dedicating your precious time to our channel to explore this explainer today. We absolutely love diving deep into the data to bring you these clear, structured insights, and we honestly couldn't do it without your focus and curiosity.
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. If dynamic charging technology successfully scales and our very roads begin passively charging us on the move, will we even need to carry around these massive heavy EV batteries in the future? Imagine how much that alone would change car design forever. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next explainer.